nzuri sana, wageni mwakaribishwa, Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana, wageni mwakaribishwa, Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Ngiti jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana, wageni mwakaribishwa, Kenya yetu hakuna matata.
A very good afternoon, a good morning, and a very good evening to whichever part of the globe you're all joining us from. Today, I am truly delighted in collaborating MINLA, that is Meena and Lalit, with the Lohana Youth League of Nairobi. We have come together and brought on an amazing speaker, Dr. Manoj Shah. This gentleman is a special gentleman who is going to be telling us a lot about inspiration, motivation, but overall self-motivation. We are truly excited to hear a lot that he has to tell us about self-motivation, primarily due to the fact that we are all going through this pandemic and we need that individually. So MINLA takes great pride in collaborating with the Lohana Youth League of Nairobi. This Youth League of Nairobi is a very active organization with their chairperson, Mr. Deep Bayani, and the secretary, Ms. Trishala Devani. Together, we have conducted a few Zoom seminars and have had an awesome time. But today, we have this very special person with us, Dr. Manoj Shah. Let me tell you a little bit about our speaker for today. Now, this gentleman, Dr. Manoj Shah, is a very well decorated lion and has also been presented with prestigious awards as the head of state commendation, awarded by His Excellency the President for Kenya, for his dedicated role and active participation in the nation building. He is also a recipient of the highest award of the Lions Club International, and that award is the Ambassador of Goodwill Award. He has been conferred with honorary doctorate in humanities. In addition to his lion activities, Director Shah is an active in numerous professional and community organizations. He is currently the chairman of the MP Shah Hospital, the vice chairperson for the Lions Site First Eye Hospital, the chairperson for the Automobile Association of Kenya Road Safety Council. He is also a member of the Priory Council of St. John's and an active member of the Visa Oshwal community. He previously served as the president of the Kenya Motorsports Club and director of the Safari Rally Limited. Director Shah is a successful businessman with interests in automobile, property, hospitality, and finance sectors. A very humble man, married to a lovely lady called Jaina, and an equally dedicated lion member of the Lions Club Nairobi Greater. Both Manoj and Jaina are progressive Melvin John fellows and proud parents to two daughters, Priyam and Soyam. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman has a list of accolades. We would be here through the whole seminar if I told you everything about it. But these were the top ones I wanted to share with you, that this gentleman comes in with such humongous background to share with us the inspiration, the motivation, and the situations that he's been through to get to where he is. So you know what? Without further delay, we do want to start this program promptly. We've introduced the speaker. However, we have got our president for the Lohana Youth League, the chairperson, pardon me, of the Lohana Youth League, Mr. Deep Bayani, who is going to give a very formal welcome to the speaker, to MINLA, and then we'll move on with today's program. Now, before I go ahead and hand over the mic to Mr. Deep Bayani, let me introduce this young gentleman to you too. Deep has got several achievements. He is a junior badminton player for Kenya, a university state player in badminton in Manipal. He's a bachelor's in physiotherapy, a diploma in sports medicine, doctor of medicine in acupuncture, executive MBA in the health leadership and management, Harvard School, and that's where he's got the core from, the Harvard Business School, and an ambitious to write a paper for quality healthcare in Kenya. Well, and he's also the chairman for Lohana Youth League. He is another gentleman. Kenya produces some amazing people, doesn't it? So he's one of them. So I'm going to hand over to Deep now to formally welcome our speaker and MINLA. Thank you, Deep. All yours. Hello, Deep. Can we hear you? We might need to unmute Deep if he hasn't been unmuted, because I did see him that he has logged in. Deep, are we there? Trishula, you are on the screen. Is Deep there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Correct, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. If we can go on speaker's view, that would be perfect. And then we can see hear and see Deep. Deep, welcome.
Sure. Good evening, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Jalaram to everyone. First of all, before I would like to introduce the speaker, I would like to say, Dr. Lalit, Meeban, you guys have been phenomenal. We've worked through so many projects together, and I would like to say a deep down gratitude to you. We have been doing some fantastic work, and coming close, this is around my last event, and I would now take you to the formal introduction for our speaker. So with that, first of all, thank you for that introduction, Lalit Bhai. That was very well explained. And I would like to, on behalf of the Lohana Youth League, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our speaker for this evening, Dr. Manoj Shah. I stand here from a very unique standpoint. Today, having had the privilege of knowing Dr. Manoj Shah for a number of years and having managed to witness his extraordinary journey to witness his journey firsthand as a result. Let me tell you a little bit in details. On a personal level, he has been a great mentor and someone I have always looked up to. As you can know, Dr. Manoj, he is indeed an inspiration to many, many upcoming and young people. And I can tell you he's truly a great inspiration. As Dr. Lalit Soda has already highlighted in his introduction, our speaker for this evening has several achievements under his belt. His excellent entrepreneurial skills coupled with hard work and a positive attitude makes him a very inspirational figure. Further, his commitment to giving back to the society is commendable. And his time on sessions like this one is just a small example of his community spirit. As you all know, Dr. Manoj Shah, very well known, and all my listeners all over the place, I would like to tell you one thing, a small quote, as someone just told me, it's a new gen quote for the young guys. Opportunities don't happen, you create them. This is a live example to show you how opportunities are created and make a great impact in the society and globally. With this small introduction, I would like to welcome Dr. Manoj Shah back to Lalit Bhai. Thank you. And thank you to my Lohana Youth League team for hosting this. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Deep, that's a wonderful introduction and a wonderful welcome for our lovely guest speaker. Thank you very much. And Deep, this is your last event for Lohana Youth League. Oh dear, your term finishes. I hope we're getting you back. Okay, so moving on, the Manoj Bhai, the session doesn't actually start till we have our formal traditional welcome by our super human being, Meenaben Khagra. This young lady travels everywhere via Zoom, physically, and makes contacts with awesome number of people and awesome quality of people. So this is the lady who is the pioneer of these MINLA sessions, and I hand it over to her to formally and traditionally welcome you again. Meena Ben.
Thank you, Lalit. Manoj Bhai, there's a tilak for you and chokha and special arti to welcome you and little Malaji to accept it. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, global namaskar to all. Jambo, Karibu, Karibu, Kenya. Welcome to the world famous flamingo town of Nakuru, and where world's fastest runners are born. Behalf of MINLA, Dr. Lalit and myself, welcome you all. We are super excited to welcome our own Dr. Manoj Shah and our great supporter, Lohana Youth League, Nairobi, Dr. Deep and Trishala. Dr. Lalit is a backbone of this session. Is chiropractic, professional world-class speaker, and author of the book, and he lectures freely faith all over the world. Not wasting even a minute, I would hand over to Lalit. Over to you, Lalit. Thank you. Welcome
Thank you,
again.
Meena Ben. Thank you very much, Dr. Manoj Bhai. You are on live. We have all formally, traditionally welcomed you and truly delighted to have you as our guest speaker today. The floor is all yours.
Thank you. Share screen.
Yes, we can see you, we can hear you.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you very much, Lalit Bhai, Meena Ben, and Deep for painting such a beautiful picture of me to all our viewers in Kenya, Nakuru, and around the world. I really appreciate your wise words. And Meena Ben, as usual, you are known that it is the small things that make the big difference, and it is not the big things that make the small difference. And this afternoon, you have proved it all. So thank you very much for that lovely introduction and for painting this wonderful picture of me to the audience. At the same time, I must share my appreciation to the chairman of the Lohana Youth Wing, Deep, to Meena Ben and Lalit Bhai, for not only inviting me to this session, but really welcoming me and making me comfortable as I prepared for the next 40 minutes of delivering a beautiful subject matter that is very close to my heart. I will talk a little bit later about the work that MINLA does, but today I want to share with all of you something that is very near and dear to my heart. As we all know that in Kenya, London, and around the world, the last 10 months have been very hard and trying for many of us around the world. In fact, for many of us, it is the first time in our lives that we actually sat at home in a lockdown, scratching our heads as to what happened suddenly overnight. The COVID pandemic. And following what has transpired in the last 10 months has inspired me to share my thoughts on the power of self-motivation in this trying times. I'm sure all of you will appreciate and benefit from this presentation. And as I carry out this presentation this afternoon, I would like this presentation of mine to be interactive, and I would like all of you to participate. And as I ask upon you to interact with me, I would really love to hear your views and your thoughts on the chat box as to some of the questions that I may pose. Because it is only through this interaction that we will be able to understand the subject matter a little better. So talking about the situation that all of us have been in the last 11 months, I would like to start off by requesting all of you to think about not all the bad things that have happened in the last 10 or 11 months. I want you to think about all the good things that have happened as a result of COVID, all the positive things that have happened because of COVID. And the first question that I would like to pose to all the audience who are participating, I want you to share with me on the chat box, what are some of the positive aspects of COVID for you and your family? Right? I would really give you 30 seconds to put in the chat box some of the positive aspects that you have seen as a result of COVID. Not everything has been bad, but as a result of COVID, there is so many good things that have happened. I've already seen the first one that has come up, which is family time. Because of COVID, I've been able to have more family time. In fact, somebody else, Lalit Bhai, unbelievable. Because of COVID, he has managed to upskill himself on the social media. Absolutely true, right? Bonding with friends, families, brothers, sisters. I mean, this has been a great result because all of us have been in a lockdown. Come on, everybody, 10 more seconds. Put down at least one good thing that you think has happened to you or to your family. Appreciation. Deep, according to Deep, there's a lot more appreciation of life, appreciation of things that we do now that we have gone through the COVID period. And as we go along, I'm sure all of you will appreciate with me that the upside of COVID in the last 11 months has really been, like many of the things we have seen on the chat box, a lot more time for family bonding, which we never had pre-COVID, right? Of course, ladies will agree with me that in the lockdown, in the COVID period, a lot of us have been, preparing recipes that we never ever thought were possible. In fact, personally, I've also increased a lot of weight during the COVID period. Somebody on the chat has said that because of COVID, it has brought the siblings together and are bonded stronger than ever. Use of the internet, working remotely from home. If it wasn't for COVID, we would never have embraced online services such as restaurants, getting our groceries, getting our pharmacy supplies, and the list goes on and on and on. And that is only for the family. And what I would really like to do is to ask all of you a following question. And the following question is, we have talked about the benefits about home and family. Why don't you put in the chat box some of the good things that have happened at your workplace? Everybody in the chat box, at least one good thing that you have seen in your workplace or in your businesses in the COVID period or as a result of COVID. Somebody says they've appreciated the home and garden. Somebody says connected with amazing personalities globally, huge network of people. Another good one, cost cutting at workplace. Because of COVID, there has been an opportunity to cut cost. Come on, everybody, let's put your thoughts down on the chat box, 30 seconds, so that we can all try and understand why this has all happened. Shobna Ben says, I've had more time for my hobbies as a result of COVID, staying at home, what the lockdown has done. So looking at many of the responses that we have received in the chat box, it is absolutely sure that at your workplaces, in your businesses, we are having more meetings than ever before. Take an example of MINLA. If it wasn't for COVID, if it wasn't for Lalit Bhai learning the technology of Zoom and Minaben being motivated, we would never have had these virtual meetings, virtual learnings that we have been having for the last 7 or 8 months. The great online learning opportunities, right? Uh, People have now started working from home. And when we look at all the benefits that we have seen because of COVID, it is unbelievable how COVID has transformed our lives. It's the new normal in motivation. And the reason why I'm sharing this with all of you is I want you to ask yourselves a question. Why did all these great things happen as a result of yourself? And let me share the answer with you. In my personal opinion, the reason why all this happened is because of the power of self-motivation. And that is what we are going to talk about in the next 30 minutes or so. As I start this session, the power of self-motivation, I would like to share with you a quote by Andrew Carnegie. People who are unable to motivate themselves must content with mediocrity, no matter how impressive their other talents are. And to introduce my subject matter for this afternoon, for this evening, we talk about the power of self-motivation and the reason for action. And the reason for self-motivation is it is self-motivation that makes people put real effort and energy into what they do. Self-motivation can also be described as doing a job because you want to, as opposed to doing it because you have to. And self-motivation, it is the feeling of commitment to doing something well and being prepared to put energy and effort into this. And having shared with you this brief introduction of self-motivation, I would like to pose another question to all of you, and I want you to answer in the next 30 seconds on the chat box. Why should you self-motivate? What are the reasons for self-motivation? When we talk about self-motivation, why should you self-motivate? Come on, everybody. Let's at least put in a couple of reasons on that. To keep, to grow, very, very good. Realization of can, live with minimum second social media. Keep going, absolutely right. You are the best cheerleader. To keep ourselves on track, absolutely right. Self-motivate and to be positive, beautiful. To continue from Shobna Ben, absolutely right. And these are many of the reasons to tackle hurdles, to face everyday life. Absolutely right. I've seen some fantastic reasons on the chat box. And when we talk about self-motivation and the reason why we should self-motivate, I want to share with all of you audience here this evening that the reason why you should self-motivate is because self-motivation gives you the energy to do what you want to do. It gives you the direction, a purpose to accomplish what you want to do. It makes you persistent. It makes you resilient to achieve your goals and objectives. And like somebody said on the chat box, the reason for self-motivation is that it gives you results that you can never ever imagine before. Right? A couple of other things that have come up on the chat box is to face all challenges, start the day with positive thinking, examine your strengths. Yes, these are all the more reasons why we should self-motivate. And as a follow-up to this question, I would really like all of you to put on the chat box another question. What are the positive characteristics of a person who is self-motivated? When a person is self-motivated, what do you see in that person? What are the traits? Everybody, quickly, 30 seconds, put in the chat box, what do you see when a person is self-motivated? Happy, always happy, absolutely right. Happiness, true. Punctuality, energy, boost in mood, absolutely right. I mean, these are some of the traits that we see in a person who is self-motivated, ready to serve, boost in mood, good leader, amazing aura. I mean, you guys are lovely. I mean, a great audience, positive always. Absolutely right. I mean, this is great interaction. And I'm really happy that all of you are putting such beautiful thoughts in the chat box, because this is the reason why we are discussing this subject of self-motivation. In fact, I've seen a very, very good one, which I've never thought of before: possess good self-esteem and energy and leave. And true, when we look at the characteristics of self-motivation, and when a person is self-motivated, you can clearly see that person is energetic and confident. Secondly, you can see that person is intrinsically driven, internally driven to do what he would really love to do. And very, very important, another great characteristic of self-motivation: whenever a person is self-motivated, he is always happy to perform. He performs with a smile. Works for well-being. When a person is self-motivated, he works for the well-being, and he's purposeful and interested in accomplishing whatever he or she would like to do. And one of the biggest characteristics of self-motivation is result-oriented. Whenever you see somebody who is self-motivated and you see that he has come out with results, that is the ultimate characteristic of self-motivation. A follow-up question to this, and I would really like all of you to put in the chat box very quickly for the next 30 seconds. What do you think are the benefits of self-motivation? We are talking about the power of self-motivation. And when somebody is self-motivated, what do you think are the benefits to that person, to that organization, or to that family? Come on, let's put some few things in the chat box. Achieve goals, share ideas. Absolutely right. I mean, goals are achieved. Whenever somebody is self-motivated, the final result is goals are achieved. Yes, recognition by Vimal Chadda. Reach targets, absolutely right. One of the greatest things about self-motivation and the benefits is teamwork. Absolutely right. I mean, these are fabulous responses that I see in the chat box. Successful outcomes, which is definitely true. So talking about the benefits of self-motivation, and I'm very happy that all of you have put what I was about to say in the chat box. And when we talk about benefits of self-motivation, when a person is self-motivated, he definitely shows improved performance in what he or she accomplishes to do. Willingness to accept responsibility. And this is absolutely right. When a person is not self-motivated, you can see that there's a lot of reluctance to accept responsibility. I can do it, I should do it, I may do it. But when a person is self-motivated, I will do it. Determination, perseverance, and patience. Another great benefit of self-motivation. When a person is self-motivated, he's always determined, and his tolerance levels and patience are at the minimum. Compared to a person who is not self-motivated, you can see his tolerance levels are always high. He runs out of passion. Acceptance of challenge. When a person is self-motivated, he always accepts the challenge that I will do it, I can do it. Cooperation in overcoming problems. Another great benefit of self-motivation. Believe me or not, when a person is self-motivated, he looks at solutions and he does not look at problems. And one of the biggest benefits of self-motivation is the person maintains focus on what he or she intends to do. So having talked about the intricacies of self-motivation, what instills motivation? And what I would like to take you through of some of the areas that instill motivation, which are passion, novelty, challenge, autonomy, and faith. And I will briefly talk about each one of these in a few moments. But before I do that, I would just like to share a small story with you, a story that many of you may have heard before. And the story is about a young boy who is 8 years old. And on one Sunday morning, the young boy, together with his father, are taking a walk in Karura forest. And whilst they are enjoying their walk, the boy stops under this big oak tree. He looks under the tree and there is a bird wriggling in pain. He picks up the small bird in his hand and suddenly tears start coming out of his eyes. He looks at his father and he asks his father that, Dad, what is going to happen to this bird? Is it going to live or is it going to die? The father looks at the son for a minute and looks at the boy into the eye and says that, boy, son, if you want this bird to live, this bird will live. And true to his word, the boy got the message of what his father was trying to tell him. The boy took the bird home, kept it in his room, looked after the bird, gave it food, gave it water, and after 2 weeks, on another fine Sunday morning, as the boy woke up, opened the curtains of his room, opened the windows, the bird flew back to where it came from. The moral of this story is that yes, we are talking about the power of self-motivation. But when we look at self-motivation in adults, in young adults, it also applies to children of all ages. And as I go along, I will use this analogy to explain why. So sharing a quote with you by Karen Rabin, how to stay self-motivated. Only as far as I can seek can I go. Only deep as I look can I see. It is upon you to see how far you can see, and it is upon you to look as deep as you can see to stay self-motivated. So talking about the first area, and that is having a passion. And when we talk about having a passion yourself, the questions that I want you to think about: what do you value most? What do you care about most? What matters to you most? What would you die for? What do you enjoy most? These are some of the questions that if you really want to look at your passion, you need to ask. And because of time, we will not go through each one of this. But what I would really like all of you to do on the chat box very quickly in the next 30 seconds is put in one thing that matters to you most. What matters to you most? Come on, everybody. Put one thing, at least in the chat box, as one thing that matters to you the most. Happiness. Somebody says drive. Somebody says what matters to me most is my family. Fantastic. From Gladys Mohonio. Vimal Chadha, helping others. That matters the most to me. Health. Fantastic. Mr. Radia. He says that what matters to me the most is my health. Shobna Ben, security and family. Security and family matters the most to me. Balance in work and family from Shilpa. Absolutely right. I mean, these are the things that matter to you the most. Maybe one more quick question, and I would like you to put in the chat box in the next 30 seconds. All of you, come on, one thing. What do you enjoy most? One thing. I want you to put one thing that you enjoy most in the chat box in the next 30 seconds. Come on, everybody, to see a smile on others' faces, laughter, happy environment, peace. Absolutely right. I mean, you enjoy peace the most, bringing happiness to somebody. I mean, these are great things that you enjoy doing most. So, to be with family and friends, to serve, right? I mean, each and every one of us have a passion that we enjoy the most. And this drives self motivation. So, talking about a person who is self motivated, and this is something that you have heard many a time, that we always work towards a target. And when we talk about a target, we talk about a smart target, we talk about a challenging target, and most importantly, the power of self motivation is always to dream big, to achieve and accomplish whatever you set out to do. The power of self motivation is always to be pursuant, like a lioness. When a lioness is hungry, thirsty, eager, crave, that's the same kind of spirit that we are looking at when we talk about self motivation. To share a quote by Steve Young, ultimate motivation. The principle is competing against yourself. It's about self improvement, about being better than you were the day before. To carry on with our conversation, the quote that you see on the screen, winners have courage to continue, losers give up and stop. And this is absolutely true, and you have seen it many a time. And I just want to share an example of the London Marathon that Minaben talked about. Minaben said that Nakuru is a town where runners are made. And what comes into my mind is that we had the London Marathon 4 months ago in the month of October. And the London Marathon, we had one of our Kenyan famous runners, Eliud Kipchoge, that comes from Minaben's area. For whatever reason, our star runner, Eliud Kipchoge, did not finish the race. He had some medical problems and he had to opt out of the race. However, the winner of the London Marathon, those of you who followed the London Marathon, were the 3 Ethiopians. And the reason why they won the race is because they paced themselves one after the other, allowing Shura, the great Ethiopian runner, to win the London Marathon. But what is important when we talk about this quote, that winners have courage to continue, losers give up and stop, is our lady runner, Bridget Kosgei, who won the women's section in the London Marathon. And I actually saw her before the start of the race on TV. She was talking to the media, she was confident, and she said that today I am going to win the London Marathon. She was determined, she was focused, she was self-motivated, and she won the London Marathon. So carrying on with our conversation this evening is when we talk about self-motivation, each and every one of us, each and every one of you have your own strengths and talents. You are talented. You have the strength. It is how you exploit your strength and talent that makes the big difference. And the analogy that I would like to use this afternoon, this evening to all of you is when we look at Lake Nakuru National Park in Nakuru, or when we look at the Masai Mara, or when we look at any of the jungles in our beautiful country of Kenya, who is the biggest animal? The biggest animal in the jungles of Africa is the elephant. Who is the fastest in the jungles of Africa. It is the cheetah that runs up to speeds of 60 kilometers an hour. Who is the tallest animal in the jungles of Africa? It is the giraffe. Yet, who is the king of the jungle? The king of the jungle always remains the lion. He is not the biggest, he is not the fastest, he is not the tallest, but he is the most talented, and he shows and portrays his strength. And similarly, I want you all to think of yourselves as the king of the jungle, as the lion. You have the strength, you have the talent. All you need to do is to exploit it and bring the best out in the power of self-motivation by yourself. When we talk about the power of self-motivation, there are barriers. And one of the biggest barriers that exclude a lot of us from going forward is the bad past. And as long as we exclude and delete the bad past, believe me, there is nothing that stops you in the power of self-motivation. There is no other barrier that you need to break just to remove your bad past. And believe me, the power of self-motivation, the exploiting of your strength and talents will come naturally. Talking about destiny, I talked about the story of that young boy. And when we look at the analogy of the young boy in the forest, he had a focus on destiny. He knew what he wanted to do with the bird. He believed in itself, and he had an option. I won't do anything about it, or I can do something about it. And yes, he did it. So when we talk about focus on destiny, always believe in yourself that you can do it. One of the other barriers, which is a very, very common barrier, is that a lot of us do not adapt to change. And that's one of the biggest reasons why we are unable to focus on the power of self-motivation. And the only constant in life is change. If we go the old ways, we will always do old things in the old ways, and we will never be able to progress forward. But if we embrace change, this is one of the biggest steps forward to accept the power of self-motivation. So if you really want to be self-motivated, one of the biggest things that you need to do is to adapt to change. And when we talk about adopt, which is completely different from adapt, we also need to adopt to change. Whenever a change happens, let's be quickly to adopt to change. We know that in the month of February, when COVID hit us, we all had to adopt to change. Hand sanitizers, wearing masks, washing our hands. But at the same time, we also adopted to bigger changes, like attending all the sessions that were organized by MINLA, by doing a lot of things online. And it is only by adopting to change that you are able to embrace the power of self-motivation. Talking about the Almighty, one of the biggest factors in self-motivation is always to have faith. And having known Meena Ben for many, many years, one of the things that has really driven her to what she is today is faith. And I would like to share a quote with you by Paulo Coelho. None of us knows what might happen even next minute, yet still we go forward because we have faith. Faith plays a very important and critical role in the power of self-motivation. When we talk about self-motivation, it is very, very important that we stay healthy and treat ourselves well. When a person is self-motivated, you will automatically see that person is eating healthy food, is eating the correct food, is exercising, spending time with family, being happy. And when a person is not self-motivated, you see exactly the opposite. People tend to eat junk food. People tend to put on weight. They don't exercise. And really, there is very poor family time among people who are not self-motivated. And really, if you want to self-motivate yourselves, this is one great area where you can self-motivate yourselves to eat healthy, to exercise, to be happy with your family. To conclude, I would like to share a quote by Jeffrey Benjamin. There is only one lasting motivation, and that is self-motivation. Others can inspire us, but only you can take action. No matter what anybody tells you or motivates you, but it is upon you to take that action and inspire yourself. With that, before I conclude, as my time is almost up, I would like to ask all of you one final question, which I want you to put honestly in the chat box. What is the one thing that you promise today on being self-motivated to do from tomorrow onwards? Come on, everybody. I want you to give me one promise on the chat box that you are going to promise to be self-motivated to do that. And I will start myself that I promise that from tomorrow onwards, I am going to lose weight. And that's my self-motivation that is going to allow me to lose weight. Come on, everybody. I want to see one promise from everybody. Lose weight. Forget the past. Honest to yourself. I promise myself to be happy from Rasik Bhai. Very, very good. Come on, everybody. At least one promise to me for this particular session today that you are going to be self-motivated to achieve your goals. Forgive and forget. Be healthy by Mr. Radia. Come on, everybody. Let's have 30 more seconds. One promise that you're going to make here and you're going to keep it. I shall commence exercise from tomorrow morning, come rain, come shine. Very, very good. So thank you all of you for giving me that promise. And I can only share with you that being self-motivated, all of you are going to keep your promises and you will certainly succeed. Finally, winners are not people who never fail, but people who never quit. So there's a difference between failing and quitting. With these few words, I hope that this short presentation of mine has given you an insight on the power of self-motivation in these trying times. With these few words, once again, Lalit Bhai, Meenaben, Deep, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts with all the audience this evening on the power of self-motivation. Thank you. God bless you all, and back to you, Lalit Bhai.
Oh my God. That self-motivating 40 minutes, where did they go? Oh my God. Dr. Manoj, thank you very much. Let me say one thing. You were dead on time. Timekeeping, one of the most important things, and you were there. Oh my God, I was just watching my phone. It was 3:19 when UK time when you finished, and we had one extra minute. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, we all have the reaction button on our Zoom session. Let us give Dr. Manoj, and if you can't find your reaction button, open your screen, stand up, and give this gentleman a standing ovation, because this was an amazing self-motivating talk.
Thank you.
I just cannot believe the amount of audience interaction we had. It was constantly coming with all those answers. Wow. Audience, thank you also for participating in such amazing way and giving out all your answers. So applause for Dr. Manoj, but also applaud yourselves because you participated really, really well. So thank you once again. On time, a lot of participation. This is the way we motivate ourselves too. So Viewers, let me tell you one thing. The chat box is open. We are interacting with Dr. Manoj. If you have any questions, I certainly do. Please post them on the chat box and we shall certainly address those questions as best as we can. I have actually opened up the chat box myself too, so I can see what's going on. Please feed in those questions. I would love to share them with Dr. Manoj, and he is waiting to answer those questions. But Dr. Manoj, before we go on, may I ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
Okay,
Go ahead.
great. Now, you in your talk discussed that there are some barriers that we have with self-motivation, and you talked about bad past. You've given us some good information. But tell us, how strongly can we remove and forget the past and move on to self-motivate ourselves? It is a challenge. It is not easy.
True. Just to share a quick example of myself, COVID hit us in the month of February and March. At the end of April, I was diagnosed COVID positive together with my wife and my daughter. I had two choices. It was a devastating time for me because very few people knew how bad COVID was at that time or what would happen. And I just returned from the United States, not knowing anything, and to be tested positive, it was like the end of the world for me and my family. And I had two choices. Either I would put the bed sheet on top of my head and sleep and wait for anything to happen, or to be self-motivated and to do something about it. And I chose the second option. I excluded the bad past, that I am COVID positive, and I thought about it. I went forward. I got myself self-treated. I did the right things. I carried on with my normal life, working from home, socializing from home, looking after my family from home, and I came out a much more stronger person because I was self-motivated after being tested positive. So that is one example that I would like to share with everybody.
Sure, sure. So this is self-motivation, and I understand. And you know what? These days, you look at people who are going through COVID, and I'm not generalizing, but I'd love to share this point with you, since you brought your own story up, and which is very thrilling to know that you're willing to share that with the audience globally. So my question is, if you're in a certain age category, you have underlying health issues, you are COVID positive, it is almost a death sentence.
True.
Yeah. Now, to come out of that and think positive mentally, what is it that you did? With all due respect, I'm not saying you're old or you're in any major health issues, but how would one in that situation where it is almost a death sentence for somebody try to remain self-motivated? What are the things that you practiced? What was going through your mind at the time? No, I want to be positive. No, I want to be positive. What was the thought process that was going on in your mind?
You are absolutely right, Lalit Bhai, because we are all senior citizens. And again, giving an example of myself, having underlying conditions, blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes, having a little bit of a renal issue, I was at a high risk when I was tested for COVID positive. But if I thought about all the issues and underlying conditions that I had, first and foremost, I would never have taken care of my family. For me, my family was my priority, my daughter and my wife, and I made sure that I had to stay positive. I had to stay self-motivated to look after their needs and their wants first. Secondly, I intrinsically driven, I decided to be self-motivated to ensure that whatever underlying conditions that I have, I must have them under control, come rain, come shine, and fight COVID till the end. And I managed to do that by having a very positive attitude and a very open mind.
Brilliant. And you also shifted your thinking process that you became a carer for your wife and your daughter. And that was your important goal.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Brilliant, brilliant. So again, shifting your mindset, looking at the adapting in the current circumstances that you were in, that's what got you through.
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay, now there's a wonderful question that has come up on the chat box, but if you bear with me, I'm going to read that out to you. And this is a question posed by Mr. H. Radya. And he says, how can you maintain self-motivation and momentum when you face real-life challenges, even after you overcome? And how can you maintain motivation always? Mr. Radya, that's a very good question. I just don't know who this gentleman is, but hey, I'm sure you participated on this Zoom, and this question will be answered by our Dr. Manoj Bhai. Manoj Bhai, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Lalit Bhai. I think Mr. Dulatia has asked a very pertinent question.
Yes.
And I am a firm believer that with every challenge, there is an opportunity. If you can realize and understand what your challenge is, you can overcome that challenge and become a stronger person. In my presentation, I talked about a person being self-motivated to find solutions and not talk about the problems. And that is where self-motivation actually kicks in. And I'm very happy that Mr. Dulatia himself has answered the question where he said that he has come out and found a solution to the challenge. Now, how does that lead to self-motivation? So having found out the solution to whatever challenge that a person may be facing, that leads to you becoming a stronger person and being self-motivated and driven intrinsically, internally to accomplish whatever you want to do. So that's my take on that question.
So remain driven intrinsically within yourself, remain and keep that candle lit. Yes?
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now, other questions come up. Okay, so you have had some good training, some good mentorships through self-motivation. You've gone through businesses, you've gone through experience, you've gone through ups and downs to become the character you are. If one wanted to learn the concept of self-motivation, inspiration, motivational life to go ahead with, would you recommend some books, some seminars, some organizations, institutions that would help those individuals? Can you shed some light on that?
Certainly. One of the things that I have done recently, and this is yet another outcome of the COVID pandemic, is that I have brought a group of young people together and I've formed them into a Toastmasters club. And this has happened over the last 5 months. And believe me or not, the transformation that I've seen in the group that I've formed into a Toastmasters club to make them self-confident, to give them the necessary leadership skills, to give them a platform to up their self-esteem has really paid dividends in creating self-motivation for these individuals. This is a great classic example of what we can do as responsible individuals or leaders in helping others to develop self-confidence in them and to create self-motivation in these particular individuals. Having said that, definitely I'm a firm believer of mentorship. Over the last 40 years of my professional and social career, I've managed to mentor more than 200 young people in the city of Nairobi and around the country of Kenya. And on a regular basis, I do get a lot of people who come to me. And sometimes, believe me or not, they come with huge problems, huge challenges. But just by listening to them, just by hearing them out, they themselves find solutions to many of those solutions or problems and become self-motivated to do what they want to accomplish. The last thing is that in the last 10 months, we all know that The situation has been really bad. People have lost their jobs, businesses have come down. There has been a lot of issues that have been related to the COVID lockdown. And this is the trying time where we had needed to make a concentrated effort to keep people self-motivated, to make sure that they keep on standing on their feet. Otherwise, many of them would have fallen down. So these are just some of the examples that I would like to share with the audience this evening.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Now, one of the comments you just made that by listening to those students who came to your Toastmasters club and they find solutions within themselves. It's amazing. Mr. Vimal Chadha has posted a very apt comment and he says, stay positive. We are the solution. The solution lies within us. It's your training, coaching, mentorship that makes us think that way and then come up with the solution. So Mr. Chadha, thank you for that point. And I thought I must highlight that point because Dr. Manoj has also said the same in his answer. And wonderful Dr. James Yang, who has also signed in from Korea, which is amazing that this MINLA sessions are going globally. Dr. James, thank you for participating all the way from Korea. And yes, Dr. Manoj's presentation has been absolutely amazing, super motivational. And yes, he is a great speaker. Thank you very much, Dr. Yang.
Thank you.
Manoj Bhai, the next question that I also have here is, you mentioned that you've started the Toastmasters Club for the newer or the younger generation. How can one find out more information about this? And is this something that is a global setup, or is this something just national within Kenya? Or can you shed some light on that, please?
Yes, Toastmasters International is an international organization. The headquarters are based in the United States of America. We have Toastmasters Club in more than 150 countries around the world, and especially in the country of Kenya, we have more than 80 active Toastmasters clubs. Many of these clubs are corporate clubs formed by companies. Many of these are individual clubs. Many of these are formed as a result of groups, like my own club is formed of a group of people with special needs. So Toastmasters is an international organization. It's one of the best platforms that I have actually witnessed that can create and develop not only speaking skills, but listening skills and also leadership skills. And one of the greatest things that I've seen with Toastmasters International, and in relation to the power of self-motivation, it's got a beautiful pathways program that people can enroll in, be self-motivated to develop the various skills that is causing frustration in their lives. So it's a beautiful platform. It's a worldwide organization, and I firmly believe that for people to be self-motivated, it's a great place to go to.
Sure. So if one wanted to sort of sign up with this particular Toastmasters section that you have developed for the younger ones, all they have to do is connect with the Toastmasters online and then get
Yes.
to your site?
Yes, it's all the information is available on the website. And for people in Kenya, we have many Toastmasters club, including my club. You are most welcome to participate in our meetings, to join our Toastmasters club, or many of the Toastmasters clubs that we have in Nairobi. Minaben runs a very successful one. In Nakuru, we have Gladys Muhonio, who is our district boss of District 114 in Kenya. She's online also. So it's very easy, and it really does not take anything to become a member of Toastmasters.
Brilliant. Yes, I've heard a lot about Toastmasters really flourishing in Kenya, and especially with Gladys, yourself, and Meena Ben, who have been very actively promoting it and participating in it. Now, this is great. What I feel is that some people who are at home, who have minimal access to the external environment, and are suffering through this pandemic, the emotionally low, the depressed people who are finding it a big challenge. What would you suggest for them? How can they become self-motivated? Because currently, to go out, especially in England over here, we are in a huge tight lockdown. The numbers are spreading very high. It's becoming more and more difficult to actually go out and remain self-motivated. Internally, within the home, what would you recommend one should be doing? And
Thank
especially
you.
gearing towards the senior generation. The younger generation is quite okay with work, online, etc. I'm talking more about the older population.
Thank you, Lalit Bhai. That's a very, very good question. And in fact, a couple of months ago, working at the hospital that I'm working with at the MP Shah Hospital, what we started is a community counseling program where we brought in community workers from the communities to be counselors, to go into households, to go and start talking, especially to senior citizens, and really making them feel that, look, COVID is not as bad as what it is, and spending some time with them and keeping the senior people self-motivated. However, with all the COVID guidelines, this has become increasingly difficult. And some of the tools, especially for the senior citizen, using the community-based groups is a good idea, but also the radio plays a very critical role in helping many of the senior citizens, because what I have seen from my experience, a lot of motivation, a lot of self-motivation can be given to many of these senior citizens at home through the radio. Radio is a beautiful tool, and talking about the Indian culture, we have 2 or 3 very good radio stations in our country of Kenya, in the city of Nairobi, and I've seen a lot of senior citizens getting self-motivated and inspired by many of the stories that come on the radio. Obviously, TV is another platform, but again, we have restrictions on TV because TV is not a live interaction. But with radio and with many of the interactive programs that are going on is a great way to keep people at home self-motivated. So that's my take on that, Lalit Bhai.
Brilliant, brilliant, yeah. And there are many, many options, and obviously you're coming up with a great option of listening to the radio, communicating with the seniors that way. And currently, as you know, Dr. Manoj, that the Zoom interaction is a pretty widely used method of communication and staying in touch socially. So that's also a great option to get through. There are amazing questions that have come up. There are, oh, lovely comment that has been made here is that counseling is the best you can do. And due to COVID restrictions, listen to music. Music is obviously a very enlightening thing. It's a very good therapy, mental therapy for a lot of people. So that's good. Dr. Manoj, questions are numerous. Time is of essence.
Yes.
We are running very much on time at the moment, and we would love to move on to our next segment of our MINLA Zoom sessions, and that is very much appreciated by a lot of our guest speakers. They love doing this. We love doing it too, and that's called a rapid fire round. Are we ready to play a rapid fire round?
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Manoj, what this will mean is that I will ask you either a short question or a one-word question where we would appreciate if the response is kept to either a one-word or a short statement, because we have approximately 17 questions, which we would like to finish in 2 or 3 minutes if we can. So you get the idea that it will be a rapid-fire round.
Sure.
Great.
Go ahead,
So
Lalit Bhai.
begins the MINLA rapid fire round with our popular Dr. Manoj Shah. Okay, the first word says mental health,
Emotional well-being,
social media,
information highway,
health.
wealth and happiness,
Ah, good one. Jainism,
My inspiration.
Gratitude.
Kindness.
The Lions Club.
Something that I love, we serve.
The COVID-19 pandemic.
Nightmare.
So true. President Joe Biden.
A true statesman.
The MP Shah Hospital.
A temple of service.
Wow, amazing. Self-motivation.
Success.
Leadership.
Initiating action.
Who inspires you?
The Almighty.
Wow. One motivational speaker that comes to your mind now.
I love Shiv Khera. He was on your show a couple of weeks ago. He is my favorite motivational speaker.
Ah, thank you for saying that. He's one of my motivational speakers too that I like. Your favorite sport?
Golf.
Aha. The name Kingsway that I see right on your backdrop there.
Our family flagship.
Great. The principle of Ikigai.
Purpose of life.
Last but not the least, Dr. Lalit Soda's rapid fire round.
Always fast and fury.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manoj. Thank you so much. You have brilliantly answered all the questions in the time frame that we wanted it. So a massive thank you from the Lohana Youth League, from MINLA, from myself. But
Thank you.
We go ahead to a formal thank you. I would like the secretary for the Lohana Youth League, a young and a lovely, inspirational lady herself, Trishula Devani. I'd like to introduce you to Trishula. She is a lawyer working in the corporate M&A and private equity practice group at the DLA Piper Africa, IKM Advocates. She has completed her undergraduate degree from the University of Kent in the United Kingdom. She's a postgraduate diploma in legal practice, the legal practice courses at BPP University College in London, and a postgraduate degree being an LLM, Masters of Law, specializing in international commercial law at City University, London. Above all, she is a dedicated Lohana community member and serving the community with all her passion, being the secretary at the Lohana Youth League. Trishula, welcome, and we would love you to give a vote of thanks for our lovely guest speaker, Dr. Manoj Shah.
Thank you, Lalit Bhai, for that very kind introduction. I'd like to also say thank you to everyone who's joined the call today. I'd like to start off by thanking our speaker for this evening, Dr. Manoj Shah. You've not only taught us of the benefits of self-motivation, but you've also reminded us to appreciate all the positive effects that have been brought about by this pandemic. We often focus on just the negatives, but you've reminded us to focus on the positives as well. And it's generated such a positive effect, and it set the tone for the rest of the year. So thank you very much. Lalit Bhai and Meena Aunty, thank you so very much. As Deep highlighted in his introduction, we've now partnered and collaborated with you on several, different projects. And, the platform MINLA has really been so phenomenal. And we're very glad to have partnered with you. You bring us so much knowledge with every session. So thank you. And lastly, the Lohana Youth League team, thank you very much for all your support always, and in helping us host these kind of sessions. I'd like to hand it back to Lalit Bhai. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you very much, Trishula, the secretary for the Lohana Youth League, and thank you for the great vote of thanks for our lovely guest speaker. Now, Dr. Manoj, we have a final vote of thanks. Before we go to the final vote of thanks with Meena Ben, who will be again traditionally welcoming, traditionally thanking. So before we get to that stage, I know you wanted to have a couple final words before we end today's program. And can I hand that over to you for your next couple minutes, please?
Thank you very much, Lalit Bhai. I know that we are in time and I would really love to stick in time, but it's really been a lovely, memorable evening. The audience have been fantastic. And as usual, you have just been great. Uh, I just want to share with the audience that I've been a keen follower of MINLA for the last couple of months. Meena Ben has been very kind and has always invited me to many of your talks. And whenever possible, I always try and participate at least for half an hour or whatever little time that I can. And I firmly believe that over the last few months, MINLA has really become a great platform. And one of the things that I've loved about the work that Mina and Lalit Bhai have been doing is that, number one, they have been having diversified topics focused on business, focused on religion, focused on social aspects, focused on general aspects. They've been bringing great speakers, motivational speakers, religious leaders, and other leaders from all over the world. I mean, this kind of knowledge, this kind of added value that Minla is giving, not only to me, but to so many of us, is really very highly appreciated. And one other great thing is that Minla has now become such a beautiful platform that it brings people from all over Kenya together, brings people from UK and other parts of the world, like my very good friend who's also decided to join in and listen to us. And this is the beauty of MINLA. It is not a local platform, it is a global, international platform that is of very high repute. Talking about the people behind MINLA, we can only share with a lot of conviction that the people behind MINLA are dedicated, devoted, and highly motivated to carry on what they are doing. When we look at Mina Ben and all the small things that she does that makes the big difference, looking at Lalit Bhai, who is a tremendous anchor, a great speaker, a person who knows how to manage things in the most effective way. I mean, this is the ultimate that you can get in terms of finesse in any particular program. Having said that, I must also appreciate the chairman of the Lohana Youth wing, Deep Bhayani, and all the members of the Lohana Youth. I've been following what they've been doing for the past few years. Tremendous amount of social work. Deep, hats off to you of what you have done. You've given tremendous leadership to the Lohana Youth, and really, God bless you for all what you have done. Minaben, Lalit Bhai, Deep, once again, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Keep up the great work. God bless you all, and I am a great fan of yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manoj. I really appreciate all the kind words. And ladies and gentlemen, watch out for the space. We have some amazing speakers coming up, lined up every fortnight, and we won't reveal that right away, but there are some amazing speakers coming up. So watch the space and you'll be getting the posters, the flyers every fortnight. Meena Ben, I would like to invite you, our senior citizen lady, may I say that to her, and she is zooming. The way she's doing is amazing. So can I invite her to give you a vote of thanks? Meena Ben, please bring yourself on the screen. Thank you.
Thank you, Lalit Bhai. This is most important duty that I've been given. Ladies and gentlemen, did you enjoy this talk? Say yes. Thank you. Before I say anything, I would like to introduce my golfer here, Ramesh.
Hi, Dr. Manoj, and also our governor
Put me in the spotlight.
of Lions Club.
Yeah. 1 minute, I'll show.
Yes, Ramesh Bhai, thank you very much. And we have had some very good memories for many, many years in our Lions clubs. And thank you for supporting Meena Ben. Always a pleasure to see you behind Meena Ben. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Behalf of Dr. Lalit and myself, our MINLA group, like to thank you all for joining us here in Zoom and live on Facebook. Thank you, Lohana Youth League, Nairobi, Dr. Deep Bhayani, and Trishula. Thank you, our chief guest, Dr. Manoj Shah, our role model in Toastmasters Club. Thank you all. Thank you, Ellie, who helps me here. Ellie, come down quickly. Say hi to behind you.
Hi everyone. Hi.
And my cute cousin, Dr. Lalit Soda. Asante sana. Kwaheri, everyone. Good evening. Thank you. Jai
Thank
Jindal.
you very much. Thank you to the audience. Yes.
Over to you. Over to the audience.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. The MINLA Zoom sessions that come up every fortnight. Tomorrow, however, we have a super amazing Zoom session with the Ayodhya ke Shri Ram, the priest who did the Bhumi Pujan with our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He is going to be joining us on a live Zoom session with the Lohana Mahaparishad President Satish Bhai Vittilani, the MP Mr. Manoj Bhai Kotak, and a philanthropist and a very senior lawyer Mr. Mahendra Bhai Gilani, all from Mumbai, India. Do not miss this session. You're going to hear a lot about the Ayodhya ke Shri Ram. Have a lovely evening, a peaceful evening, a very good night to all the members who've joined in. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. I'm going